Welcome to Nasdaq Trade Talks. I'm Jill Malandrino, global markets reporter at Nasdaq, with daily insight at the Nasdaq-100 index, or the NDX, which is made up of 100 of the largest domestic and international non-financial innovative companies listed on the Nasdaq stock market. The NDX has been the barometer for U.S. large cap growth and also one of the best performing indexes over the last decade and a half, not to mention one of the most liquid index ecosystems in the world. Joining me this Monday afternoon, we have Dearborn, Managing Director with Nasdaq's Market Intelligence Desk, for an update on technical levels to watch in the Nasdaq-100. And Chris, like we spoke about last Thursday, it feels as if that slow summer trade has been somewhat accelerated a bit. It's been a little bit quiet, relatively speaking.
It really does. And it seems like the path of least resistance at the moment, at least, is lower, right? Selling's kind of beget selling. You're not seeing the dip buyers stepping in, at least this afternoon. The index is down about 2.5% at the moment, trading relatively close to the lows of the day. It really opened at the highs of the day at 13,650 and sold off slowly over the course of the day. A lot of items out there that we talk about, but really we're looking at the index just moving lower, not a lot of buying, volumes not as much as we're hoping for on a Monday morning. I think you're absolutely right, Jill, that summer mentality is starting to leak in here, even though we still got a few weeks away to Labor Day, to Memorial Day.
Especially on a Monday, isn't that for sure, Chris? Let's pull up your first chart here, take a look at some fresh levels.
So I said before, we opened near the highs and the index is off 2.5% near the worst levels of the day. You're looking at a test of support on your 50-day moving average. We've tested this multiple times in the last week. It's held every time. Now, today seems to be not necessarily a little bit different, but if you look at the chart, the purple line, the 50-day moving average stands at 13,375, really just kind of a stone throw away from where we are right now. We need to hold this level on a closing basis, or else the index could see a quick move lower to a 1280.50. So interesting that the RSI we talked about last week at about 44 still stands close to that level. It's at a 42 now, which means we're closing in on an oversold condition, but we're not quite there yet, which means there could be more room to move lower off the index.
All right, and Chris, to wrap up here with your final chart, if we take a look at which constituents are delivering performance or not this afternoon.
Absolutely. So tech is definitely taking a hit today on the back of a number of analyst comments, kind of driving them significantly lower. There's also some headwinds here. Other comments I've seen coming out, which makes a lot of sense. That inflation trade talk is still in progress here. Fear of rising rates, which could impact tech earnings. And then you've got a number of other macro items that are going to impact the markets as a whole. It's not just that value versus growth story anymore, but now we're looking at federal intervention with tax overhaul coming up, obviously rising rates, inflation, which I just mentioned, and more importantly, regulatory intervention coming in here. That could drive these markets a little bit lower on fear because we're unsure of where that's going to take us. Again, right, tech numbers are lower and the consumer names are a little bit higher today.
All right, Chris, appreciate the insight as always. Thanks for joining us on Trade Talks, and thanks for joining me. I'm Jill Malandrino, global markets reporter at Nasdaq.